The speech settings offer setup of user preferences when in the speech screen. Once inside this menu, choose between the different options by using the right attenuator wheel, while the left attenuator wheel changes the individual settings for selection. There are different sections to the screen such as measurement type, representation, control, etc. Each section will be reviewed starting with measurement type. Measurement type allows the examiner to have a default setup of aided or binaural so that results are stored correctly. This setting is for storing purposes only and not for audiometer setup to conduct the test. Only when the first test conducted when entering the speech testing screen will be in aided or binaural condition should this be checked. Representation include masking type presets the masking noise once activated in channel 2. The selection is between speech noise and white noise. Table mode and graph mode allow for the display of the testing results to be in a table or graph form. United States typical preference is table mode display. Measurement type allows the examiner to default the setup storing of the first test conducted in the speech screen. The selection options are SRT, MCL, UCL, Word Recognition 1, Word Recognition 2, or Word Recognition 3. Magnify the head-up display allows the top black heading to be defaulted to a larger display upon entering the screen. Control section is specific to the speech presentation. The first option is number of words. The selection can be from 10 to 29 and stops the counter once the select number is reached. Storing the results will return it back to 0. This setting is only configured for microphone or CD. WAV file presentation is not controlled by this field. Reset speech score on intensity change resets the counter to 0 automatically as soon as the intensity is changed within channel 1. Reset score on HL to UCL change resets the score when a change in measurement type is completed. This includes SRT, MCL, UCL, and the word recognition lists. WAV Files section defaults the settings for utilizing the WAV files within the audiometer. When the device arrives, there are multiple WAV file lists included with the purchase. These include DoD and VA Affairs, Basic Auditory Test Adult, Basic Auditory Test Children, and a Spanish list labeled Spanish Auditory Speech List. Each WAV file has multiple recordings associated with it, so selection of the most commonly used list is recommended. When multiple recordings are needed to be used with the same client, returning to the speech setup screen and changing the selection will allow for access to additional recordings and testing to proceed. It is important to note the QuickSyn is a WAV file within this list, which should never be selected. There is a special test screen used for this test with scoring ability. WAV running mode sets the presentation of scoring of the WAV files. The selection available include manual, continue, or timeout. Manual requires the examiner to select the word to be presented to the client. This is completed by pressing the Shift key and rotating the attenuator wheel until the desired word is highlighted. Pressing the tone switch will then present to the client. Once it has been presented and scored by selecting the correct or incorrect buttons on the audiometer keyboard, the examiner can move to the next word by pressing Shift and rotating the attenuator wheel again. Continue will start at the first word of the list and move on to the next word as soon as a score is entered. The correct or incorrect button on the audiometer keyboard will score the result and then automatically move to the next word for presentation to the client. Timeout allows the least amount of buttons to be pushed by the examiner when performing the speech test through WAV files. Timeout allows the examiner to score only those words that are correct or incorrect dependent upon the settings specified. For example, when correct is checked, the audiometer will automatically count that word correct if the examiner hasn't selected incorrect from the audiometer keyboard within 2 seconds. It will then wait another 3 seconds before playing the next word. The examiner can change the timing field to allow the continue or timeout modes to move quicker or pause longer dependent upon these field setups. The bottom of the screen offers 2 function keys for phone norms curves and free field norms curves. This displays the norm data on the graph type display on the speech screen. By pressing the function key, this norm data can be changed. Once in the norms display, use the left attenuator wheel for changing the selection of the highlighted field and the right attenuator wheel to move to the next field. To back out without saving, select the back function key. To save the speech settings, select the Save As function key. Shut off the device and turn it back on for changes to take place.